Alright, so just give me a second to get my bearings. I've just navigated the gauntlet that was naming the three animals. I'm still shaking. Alright. Okay, what's up guys? Paul here with a new YouTube vlog. So, I've got a fun little idea for today's video. It's about Donald Trump. Alright, so I've actually been meaning to do something on Trump for a minute now. I mean, you gotta love him or hate him, but you kind of gotta love him because he's just a gift that keeps on giving. Oh, and before I go on, if you're enjoying the videos, please drop in the likes and comments. Oh, and that oh so elusive subscribe button. And of course, this video is sponsored by my identical twin brother, Palfish Paul, aka Palfish Pablo. Shout out Palfish Pablo. You can check out his channel here. Throughout this coronavirus, he has been the COVIDiot king. From his insistence that the virus will just disappear in the heat, to his talk of cleaning it out with bleach, to boasting that he's taken a malaria drug called hydroxychloroquine. The list goes on and on. You know, barely a day can go by where Trump doesn't put his foot in it. And he really did that in the brilliant Chris Wallace interview from Fox News last weekend. It's magnifique. It really is. There was so many great moments in this interview, so many things to love and enjoy, from him asking his press secretary for the death chart. Hey, bring me the death chart, as if it's like the monthly sales bar chart from a car sales company. Bring the death chart.
1,000 cases a day.
Show me the death chart.
Well, I don't have the death chart.
The death chart is much more important.
The death chart.
The list went on and on there, but we need to get down to the pièce de résistance, when he bragged about this cognitive test which he took. Alright, so the reason he took this test is because there have been questions about his cognitive qualities, and both of the presidential candidates. I mean, this is America, you know, supposedly the greatest country in the world, yet the presidential race somehow boils down to these two decrepit, crusty, lecherous old white men in a slow bicycle race to the bottom. Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I mean, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. So Biden, I mean, his cognitive decline really has been well documented. You can go on many YouTube highlight reels of his innumerous gaffes. Many of the times he cannot complete his own sentence. He starts off saying something, he's just like, you know the thing, all women and children were born, you know the thing. I don't really want to make fun of Biden because it's a bit sad, really. The man probably is in the early throes of senility. But you know, Trump is making fun of him on that, based on that, where really he ain't much better himself. You know, he's only a couple years younger, and you know, to watch Trump speaking in an interview or a press conference, it's like akin to hearing, you know, a young primary school student or teenager speaking, such as his inarticulation and his inability to express himself. You know, sometimes it's almost like a guy speaking in a foreign language. All he can rely on are these same adjectives over and over, like beautiful and tremendous. And anyway, he seemed keen to brag about this cognitive test because, like I said, people were wondering, like, is this guy starting to struggle a bit up top, you know, with his drinking the cup of water with two hands and slowly lurching down the ramp that time a few weeks ago. So he went and took this test to prove that he is still sharp as a whistle up there between the ears. So let's go and see what this test is about, because, you know, my interest was piqued when Chris Wallace, shout out Chris Wallace, by the way, for a brilliant interview. I like this guy, you know, he looks like one of those Watergate journalists. He's got one of those, 1950s faces. And, yeah, one of those classic old-style journalists. He said, I took the test. It wasn't the hardest test. There's a picture of an elephant, and it asks you, what's that? And Trump was like,
Now, Let's go down. Joe and I will take a test. Let him take the same test that I took.
Incidentally, I took the test too when I heard that you passed it.
Yeah, how did you do it?
Well, it's not the hardest test.
No, but
there's a picture and it says, what's that? And it's an elephant.
No. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was.
Trump is like, no, it's a lot harder than that. But actually, I've opened up the test here and it's laughably easy. It's not something to brag about. It's only a test to measure cognitive decline and see if you could be a candidate for early dementia. It's not a test that you actually, get an A or a B grade in. Not an IQ test. Purely a cognitive test. I mean, when you see the picture of the animals, I'm looking at them here. It's hard not to laugh. To think the President of the United States of America is sitting there bragging about identifying an elephant in a picture. It's brilliant, So, let's go and see this test, and let's see if I can ace it too, and let's just see how hard it was, because Trump insisted Wallace could not get some of these questions correct, all right? So let's go and check it out. All right, so here we go. I'm actually nervous. I feel like I'm doing the Leaving Cert again. I haven't even prepared anything. All right, question 1, visuospatial and executive section, drawing a clock and a cube. All right, so we see letters and numbers. You need to link 1A2, B3, C4D, 5E. All right. Next, copy cube. Is it about my cube? Your car has been impounded into a cube. You have 30 minutes to click your cube. Copy the cube. All right, so take a little break. Let me draw out this cube on paint. All right, so here's my cube, Paul's cube. All right, on to the next question. Draw a clock at 10 past 11 for 3 points. 3-pointer from downtown. All right, let me draw out this clock on paint. All right, this is actually kind of fun. Takes me back to primary school arts and crafts class. Hey teacher, I hope we also get to do some paper mache and finger paints. All right, so here's my clock. I'm not the best at paint, yeah? It's not my forte. I would have rather to draw this out with a pen and paper. But there you go, there's my lovely clock reading 10 past the 11. All right. We've just navigated the first section. Now, section 2, naming, the infamous elephant question. All right, here we go. I see 3 animals who I need to name. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I don't see an elephant. I hope I got a different test here, because I don't see an elephant. Lion, rhinoceros, and a camel. I think, I could be wrong now. I've gone out on a wild limb there. But I can't specify the actual breed of that rhinoceros. I do believe by the shape of his horns, he could be the endangered white rhinoceros of Central Africa. But I'll just go with the generic rhino there. I do believe that's a male lion, and it's a camel. Here we go. All right, so just give me a second to get my bearings. I've just navigated the gauntlet that was naming the 3 animals. I'm still shaking. All right, gather myself. Come on, you can do this. Repeat after me and do some maths. We're on to the memory and attention section. Memory. Read a list of words. Subject must repeat them. Do 2 trials. Even if first trial is successful, do a recall after 5 minutes. All right, here we go. Let's say these 5 words. Face, velvet, church, daisy, red. Face, velvet, church, daisy, red. Face, velvet, church, daisy, red. Now, if you need to just remember those 5 words 5 minutes later, you get a cue. I think they give you a hint. All right, so ideally you're supposed to be doing this with a friend or an examiner who would give you a cue to remember those 5 words. Like face, they might touch their face. Church, maybe they'll pray or something like that to give you a cue. But to just randomly remember those words 5 minutes later, even for a man of total recall like myself, yeah, that could be a bit tricky. Anyway, I think I've aced it for all intents and purposes. On to attention. Read the list of digits, 1 digit per second. Subject has to repeat them in the forward order. Ooh. And then the subject has to repeat them in the backward order. Forward order. 1, 2, 4, 5, 8. Next part, in the backward order. 7, 4, 2, as they are printed. Next, read the list of letters. The subject must tap his hand at each letter A. No points if 2 errors. Whoa. All right, here we go. FBA tap, CMNA tap, A tap, JKLBA tap, FA tap, KDEA tap, A tap, A tap, J, A tap, M, O, F, A tap, A tap, B. Whew. Don't know if I'm going to get through this. Next. Serial 7 subtraction. This is one that Chris Wallace mentioned. 7 subtraction starting at 100, and they actually give you multiple choice. Subtract 7 from 100. Is it A 93, B 86, C 79, D 72, or E 65? They've gone all the way to 65. It's 93. All right, and I do think there was one other section here. No, that's it. Okay, now we've made it to the rush roulette. I mean, this is the chamber of darkness. This is the section Trump guaranteed journalist Chris Wallace could not get correct. He looked him in the eye and said, "You could not get these correct." So, forgive me my trepidation. And I don't know, do we have to do this? Cut the camera, just cut it for a second. Sorry, I'm back. I just, for a minute there, I just thought, I didn't think I would make it, but I gathered myself, and here we go. Language. Repeat. I only know that John is the one to help today. I only know that John is the one to help today. The cat always hid under the couch when dogs were in the room. The cat always hid under the couch when dogs were in the room. Yes, I said it. And I repeated it twice concisely. Clean, crisp repetition. Abstraction. What's the similarity between orange and banana? It's that they're fruit. Train and bicycle. I don't know. Modes of transport. All right. A watch and a ruler. A watch and a ruler. Objects of measurement. Carol. Things to measure. Measuring instruments. Carol. Okay. It's like Jeopardy. What are measuring instruments? Jeopardy, legendary show. Okay. Now we need to come back and do the delayed recall. Remember the words from the last section? We need to remember them again with a memory cue. Face, velvet, church, daisy, red. Orientation. And finally, last but not least, the task thrust upon us, which was labeled so difficult by President Donald Trump that he guarantees Chris Wallace would not be able to answer it. We must state today's date and our current location, bringing a whole new meaning to the sporting parlance that he got hit so hard he didn't know what day it was. Alright, so to finish this test, you need to identify today's date. Again, Trump thinks one of Fox News' best journalists would struggle with that. I mean, is this real life? Beggars belief. Alright, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to just have a punch in the dark and see what I can come out with, yeah? Although, having said that, you know, being a digital nomad working online, it actually can be hard enough to remember what day it is sometimes. So, let me have a quick think about that. Need to get today's date. It's the 22nd of July, 2020. Today is Wednesday. Place, my house. Welcome to my house here in Jomtien, Pattaya. Pattaya, Thailand. Pattaya is the city. Woo! We did it! We made it. Now let's wait for the examiner to correct our test. Alright, so there you go. I took the MOCA cognitive test from Montreal, which Trump has been bragging about acing, and yeah, like Chris Wallace said, it is not the hardest test, and it's frankly laughable that POTUS sat there bragging about acing that thing, because it's like something, you know, kindergarten kids would. I thought they were going to ask us to color in the cartoon animals. All right, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed my test, guys, and yeah. Fuck Trump. Cheers, guys. Subscribe, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video.